This is Crape Myrtle Lagerstroemia, and this is a low branching or multi-trunk take on the tree. And what we're going to look at is how to prune it. As you can see here, the blooms occur on the outer edges of the plant, and that's because all the blooms occur on new growth. So the pruning is going to be oriented towards creating new growth for maximum blooming on the plant. This is fall color right before the plant goes dormant, and now you're looking at the winter time look of crepe myrtle. So as you can see, there's seed heads at the top of these branches, and those are the spent flowers that have become seeds. And what we're going to look at is where and how to prune this. Here you're looking at some cuts from 2 to 3 years ago right here at this joint. And what happens is when you make a cut, typically the plant throws up 2 to 3 divisions or new limbs from the point of the cut. And that's just something to know strategically in advance. What you're going to create when you make your cuts is you're going to probably get 2 to 3 more new branches come out right below wherever you make your cut. So you want to anticipate that when you're deciding where to cut or prune your tree. So if we look at this older tree, this is showing you a good example of the year before where you can see these very clear nodes of where things were cut, and then that they grew 3 to 5 feet after the cut was made. So again, here's the cut, and then up above that you're going to get another 3 to 5 feet worth of growth, depending on the age of the plant. But once they've been established for 4 to 5 years, you can expect that amount of growth typically each year if you're pruning them back. If you don't prune them back, it's just going to depend on conditions and how healthy the tree is. You may only get 6 to 12 inches if you just keep letting the tree grow and grow. One of the things that I shoot for on mine, this one you're looking at here, is it's about 13 to 15 feet tall. And here I'm starting to prune. I've decided where I want to cut back to, and so I'm going to start cutting from the outside and work my way into the center, as you'll see here. So I'm about 4 to 5 feet lower than the top of the canopy, and I'll start working my way around the perimeter to create kind of an oval top to the tree. And you'll see how that works out as we move along. By removing the outside branches, it gives you a clear line into the middle, and otherwise you're fighting whatever's on the outside as you're trying to get at them, and these branches falling and slapping you in the face is no fun. So I found that that's a pretty good strategy. But the first thing you want to do is decide where you want to start cutting, stand back and get a good sense of where that makes sense, and then work your way in. Here you're looking at the first layer of cuts, and just trying to show you how that appears, where I've cut right above the old cut, yep, right there, and in some cases very close to last year's cut, because this tree has really reached a height that I'm happy with. So I'm going to start coming back to a similar place. The thing that I don't like with how some people prune the crepe myrtles is they get back to a very thick fat branch, and they make these big cuts, and they've got a 2 to 3 inch diameter branch sometimes. These ones here are only about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch thick. And you'll see what you saw at the beginning of the video is how you have a very nice even full form in the tree, and that's how this will fill back in. Here I'm starting to whittle away at the edges, so you can see how that's starting to take shape with the outside edge has been removed over here to the right, and then the center is still there. So working my way in, and that's really the approach to this. Now the tricky part is, depending on your access and how tall you decide to let your tree get to, is when you start getting up at this higher elevation, getting to the middle can be tricky. I'm on a ladder here using a pole pruner, and it gets a little dicey, but usually you'd have access from all the way around the tree, and that makes it a lot easier. I've only got access from half of this because I'm backed up to the house. So still working my way in, and then the next thing I'm going to do is, once I've got the entire canopy rounded off, then I'm going to go in and I'm going to start removing some of the outer twiggy bits, I'll just call it, where you have smaller branches. They're only like 1/8 of an inch thick, and they get brittle and they're easy to remove. But I go to a smaller pruning pole and I start taking off all that kind of garbage, and that way I'm stripping it down more to the larger branches that are kind of a 1/4 inch diameter or larger. And that way, again, it's easy to get my way into the middle if there's anything left in there. And a lot of those smaller branches die anyway, so if you leave them on there, they just become clutter. So I like to get those out, as you can see here. And also I like to use that pole pruner as tongs of sorts. So here you can start to see how the outer edge looks. There's a lot of twigginess removed. There's still a little in there. And what I'm doing here now is I'm starting to take off crossovers. And what that means is, if you've got a major branch and it's laying up against another one, what I do is I look and see, do I really need that branch to maintain the full form of the tree? And if I don't, I take it off. I don't want a very cluttered up tree. And each year there's 1 or 2 that I'll remove that just aren't necessary. So what I'm trying to do is predict where these fill in, and if there's 2 or 3 filling in the same place, I remove 1 or 2 of those to make it more evenly spaced. And here we're getting down to the end. The tree's taken shape. I've pulled it back to about a 10-11 foot high tree, and I'm just about done. So now I'm just removing some of the twigs to clean it up, and now we're done. And that's how I prune a crepe myrtle. Try and do that whenever the tree is dormant, before it gets too close to spring, and you're all set for the following year, and you'll get a nice, evenly spaced, full bloom this coming season.